It seems every year, the world rediscovers the sensation of cryptocurrency due to a massive rise in the Bitcoin market, only to be forgotten by the next hype. For some, however, Bitcoin is more than just a passing fad. It is a way of life. Globally, there are thousands of Bitcoin mining operations of various sizes, all competing for the same prize, a highly valued set of numbers called a blockchain that entitles them to a few Bitcoins of their own. No other country has been influenced by this massive surge more than the Nordic country of Iceland. Today, we're going to take a closer look at one of the world's largest crypto mining operations. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that has been around since about 2008. Since that time, the market for Bitcoins has soared and crashed dozens of times. But to understand how influential Bitcoin has become, we have to go back to the very beginning. On October 31st of 2008, an anonymous figure that went by the name Satoshi Nakamoto publicly published a paper called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The system was unique due to the fact the currency is not controlled by a central bank or government. This makes Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general a secure and global currency that creates its own market due to scarcity. Funds are mined and sent from user to user, and it rules out the need for a middleman like a bank or government agency. Bitcoin began to catch on slowly but steadily. In 2009, a man bought 2 Papa John's pizzas for 10 Bitcoin. At the time, this was worth around $25. In today's market, however, this amount would be worth over $442 million. Incidentally, Bitcoin would really begin to surge when illegal darknet markets would move exclusively to Bitcoin transactions, since the funds were not as easily traced. Due to this, drug sales, ammunition sales, and illegal digital services could be traded freely and openly on the market. Obviously, this was too good to be true, and when the bubble burst when these markets were closed, many thought that Bitcoin might not stand a chance. But the markets proved this thinking wrong, and the bubble would only grow until the price of a single Bitcoin would reach $40,000 in the beginning of 2021. The Bitcoin bubble of 2018 has been compared to the tech boom of the 90s. Millionaires have been made, and Bitcoin doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Surprisingly, one Nordic country really took a liking to the business of cryptocurrencies. Iceland took blockchain mining to a whole new level when crypto mining operations began moving there in early 2014. But let's discuss what mining actually is. Mining is a process where essentially a bunch of computers race to solve a block in the blockchain and earn Bitcoins as a reward. This way, Bitcoins are mined and can be cashed in or saved. Iceland provides many unique benefits to mining operations due to its location and economy. This has resulted in massive changes due to their success. To put this success into perspective, since 2018, the entire country of Iceland uses more power to run Bitcoin mining operations than to power local households. In fact, a single computer used for mining uses the same amount of electricity as a hairdryer being left to run 24 hours, 7 days a week. This wouldn't be so bad, but there are over 30,000 units in the Ethereum mining center alone being continuously run. 30,000 hairdryers adds up to a lot of power. This brings us to what makes Iceland the best place for such an operation. Due to the fact the country runs 100% on renewable energy, the cost of electricity is low. Natural resources like geothermal energy and hydroelectric power provide all of the energy needed to power these massive mining centers. When power is cheap, mining has less overhead, and the profits can just keep rolling in. That brings us to the biggest among all the mining centers. Genesis Mining moved all of its operations from Germany to Iceland in 2014. At the time, Bitcoins were worth a measly $1,000. It wouldn't be long until the massive rise of Bitcoin would surge the price to the over $40,000 they are worth today. The Enigma facility sits only 2 miles from Iceland's biggest airport, Reykjavik Airport. The mining center sits in two nondescript metal buildings that resemble poultry farms more than high-tech data centers. Inside sits a literal gold mine, and you wouldn't have a clue from the outside. Some have described the feeling of standing in the Genesis mine as standing in one giant supercomputer. This isn't far off. Inside, the noise is tremendously loud, and you are surrounded by rigs stacked as far as the eye can see, full of twinkling lights that let technicians know that GPU units are functioning. The computers race to beat out other mining centers around the world to earn Bitcoin by solving the blockchain first. The facility was initially built to mine Ethereum. This cryptocurrency started to rise around the same time as Bitcoin and has mimicked the rise and fall patterns of Bitcoin, though to a lesser degree of success. However, today the facility has mastered data mining and actively mines for more than 5 different cryptocurrencies at any given time. The rigs of GPUs are managed and run by a trade secret and custom program called the Genesis Hive. Genesis Hive manages all of the rigs remotely across the 2 separate buildings on site, and it is the key to the mine's operations. The management system is one of Genesis Mining's most tightly guarded secrets. The effect the Enigma facility had on Iceland was immediate and on a massive scale. Icelandic banks had influxes of foreign money, and money flooded into the economy as business boomed. Soon, more companies set up shop in Iceland. Today, dozens of large-scale crypto mining operations have sprung up all over the country. Iceland's economy is booming, and it is all thanks to the great minds behind one of Iceland's great crypto mining operations. The Genesis Mining Company is far from the only company competing on such a massive scale for cryptocurrencies. The largest mining center in the world was recently opened in Beijing, China, by the mining operator Bitmain. The next largest facility is also in China and is run by Discus Fish. Bitcoin started a whole new way to think about the global economy and the currencies we do business in. The digitalization of currency is far from over, and it is hard to tell what the future holds. Whatever it holds, Genesis Mining in Iceland is bound to be at the forefront.